Welcome to Workshop Topics, and this is an interesting one. It's part 3, making sure that you always have a good stock of metal in the workshop and looking at some paint lining methods. When you're making something in the workshop, it's a good idea to always have a piece of metal that's the correct diameter for the part that you're going to make. All I can usually find in my metal supply are pieces of bar that are far too big. Finally, I've decided to do something about this, so I asked Matt at Blackgates Engineering to cut me a selection of mainly steel bar in different diameters and lengths. And here I'm adding yet another steel bar to my collection. I have cast iron and steel in the same box, and then I have a box for non-ferrous metals, and then underneath the table there's yet another box full of different random pieces of metal, mainly brass and phosphor bronze. While I was at Blackgates Engineering, I also bought some taps and dies, and these, dare I say it, are metric taps and dies. And what's the thing surrounding all these taps and dies? This is a brake block ring. If you look at it carefully, you will see that it's made up of brake blocks with infill metal between. And it's like this so you can put it in the lathe and machine all the brake blocks at the same time. These brake blocks will be fitted to the Hogwarts Castle that I'm rebuilding. And as we all know, Hogwarts Castle is really a Hall-class locomotive. But that's enough train spotting. I put the taps and dies in the drawer in this tool cabinet that I have. It was given to me by a friend of mine, and it's very useful for keeping things together. These are interesting. This is a set of diamond burrs, and they were sent to me by a man called Martin, and thanks for this, Martin. They look like they're going to be very useful. And they're going to take pride of place in the top of my Proxon power supply, which has holes in it to take tools like this. Moving on now to the difficult part. What you see on screen at the moment are 3 paint pens. Fairly self-explanatory, they're just pens full of paint. What you're seeing on screen at the moment is one side of my beautiful sterling single in 5-inch gauge. I haven't painted it yet, as you can clearly see. But very shortly I will be painting it with some Great Northern Railway green. Then I need to line it out, first of all with a black line, followed by a white line. And what's more, the lines around the splashy holes have to be very, very thin. And I find this job very difficult indeed. I find myself frequently looking at lining on models and thinking, well, that looks okay, until you get up close. And as I zoom in with the camera, as you can see, this lining I'm doing is fairly terrible, and it doesn't get any better when I put the white on the outside. To be fair though, for this experiment I didn't give the black paint sufficient time to dry, so the white paint is actually mixing with the black and looking a bit grey. I think I'll try it on the lid of this set of metric drills. And the results are fairly encouraging. If I use a straight edge it's okay, freehand it's a disaster. But the main problem is the cheapness of the pens. Can you see the yellow dot? That's when I just pressed on the point to let some more ink through. So unfortunately, because these pens are very cheap and badly made, it's not going to really work, I don't think. I will revert to plan A. This is a tin of paint, but not just any paint, it's a tin of Sign Painter's One Shot. This was recommended by John at the Steam Workshop, and he says that this paint has more pigment in it than normal paint, so it's really good for sign writing. I'm going to use my Bob Moore's lining pen for this. I've filled the small container on top of the pen with some of this one-shot paint. And for the first part of the experiment, I've thinned the paint using some panel wipe. At this point, if I was a bit thick, I could say, oh, this pen's rubbish, it doesn't work. But no, the problem lies with me. I don't think thinning the paint is the answer. I'm going to wipe off every line using some cellulose thinners. And in this next clip, I've very crudely refilled the container and I'm drawing round my ruler. And the results are getting slightly better. Maybe I should watch a few YouTube videos about how to do this. I probably will do that, but I haven't yet because I want to have a go and try and figure it out by myself. I've always been like that. I do like to teach myself things. My first organ teacher found me rather difficult because my brain goes at about 1,000,000 miles an hour. And I think it was the constant, intense flow of questions from me to the teacher that finished him off. He just put his head in his hands and said, "Stop, just stop, I can't take any more, you're completely frying my brain. All you need is time, just go away and figure it out." I didn't exactly do it all on my own though. I had a really good piano teacher, and this old lady was incredible. She had infinite patience, and what a player she was. And while I've been telling you that short story, I'm starting to get the hang of this lining. What you have to do is not bother thinning the paint, and don't scratch the surface like this. You have to do it very slowly, very smoothly, and then you get a perfect line. The minute that you drag the pen too fast across the work, the paint will stop coming out of the nozzle and you get a gap. This requires considerable patience, and I've got plenty of that. So with quite a lot more practice, I should get better at this. Although I'm thinking I may use a computer in the end, I will scan the splashes of the engine and create some water slide transfers with my laser printer, which may do the trick, but who knows. By the way, it says in the instructions use cellulose thinners for thinning the paint, but I must admit that this paint doesn't like it. The cellulose thinners or lacquer thinner just made the paint coagulate. I got better results by using a mixture of cellulose thinners and white spirit, and then I blew the mixture through the nozzle using my airline. And that's it for this episode of Workshop Topics. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful.